What's up, traders? In today's video, I'm going to share with you 5 questions that I think we should all be able to answer before we take a trade. If you answer these 5 questions before you click the button, I believe you're going to win more trades, lose less money, and feel like you have more control over your trading. Welcome back, everybody. For those of you that are new, my name is Austin Silver. I really appreciate you being here. I know you're going to find value in this video because these 5 questions can improve anybody's trading. If you focus in on these 5 questions, I know it's going to make a difference for you because chances are one of these, if not 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 of them, are lacking in your trading, and that's why you're not seeing the results that you want to see. So if you find value in today's video, all that I ask is that you give it a big thumbs up and subscribe. That's all YouTube is looking for, to then share my video to other traders and we can help everybody improve. That's the goal of why I'm taking the time to do this. So if you find value, smash the thumbs up button. Let's get into these 5 questions. Number 1, the first question that you should be able to answer before you take a trade is how far is your stop loss? You should always understand that before you go into a trade, your risk has to be predefined. I think that you can't consider any type of investment, any type of trade, without first understanding what is your risk going into this idea, going into the thesis here. The second question is, what is your first potential profit target in this trade? Now, what I like to do in my trading is I use R multiples, which really simply means that if I'm risking 5, 1 R would be 5. 2R would be 10 pips or 10 points in profit. 3R with a 5 pip stop would be 15 pips in profit. So the first 2 questions, you should understand your risk, your stop loss, the distance there, and then you should also understand what are your potential reward targets. You should have multiple targets, in my opinion, for most trades, because I think that's what gives you the potential risk reward setups that will tell you, yes, take this trade, or no, don't take this trade. The third question that I think you have to be able to answer is, what grade is this setup? Now, I use the word grade like we're in grade school. Did you get an A on your test or a B on your test? I grade my trades A, B, or C depending on the quality of the setup. Each trade that I look to take fits a list of parameters that we detail in our courses. It's in a checklist that go into the system that we're trading, whether it's the A1, the D1, or the D2. Those are 3 entry and exit systems where my risk is predefined, my stop loss is predefined, all of that is built in. All these questions are answered in my systems. So the grade, this part of it, is A, if it's perfect, if there's nothing that could be better. B, if there's maybe 1 or 2 things that could be better. Or C setups to me are trades where 2 or 3 things, maybe more than that, are wrong with it. Even if I can still read risk reward, because there's so many things wrong with it, it's a lower grade, a lower probability, and therefore something that I want to normally avoid. So to recap, question number 1 that you got to be able to answer is, how far is your stop loss? What is your risk? Question number 2, what is your potential first profit target? And what's your second one as well? Make sure you understand where your targets are, risk and now reward. Question number 3, what grade is the setup? How great of a quality setup is it? Because remember, we can go in and read risk reward anywhere. You could just with simple EMAs, just with simple candles. Like, you don't need any indicators even to just read risk reward. But it's a whole different ballgame to be able to ask yourself questions, whether it's using indicators, price action, whatever it is, fundamentals. Ask yourself questions to then determine the quality of that risk reward setup. So you see how number 1, number 2, and number 3 all tie together? You got to know the distance in risk, know the distance in potential profit, and know the grade of the setup. And if you're not grading your trades right now, basically what you're saying is that all trades are equal, no one is greater than the other, no one setup has higher probabilities than the other, and that's just not true. I used to be that way, but I've changed, I've learned over time, I've stayed open-minded, and it's helped, and that's why I'm sharing it with you. Question number 4. How much percent loss does your system allow for on this entry signal that you're taking? The system is, like I mentioned before, for me, the A1, the D1, and the D2. That's the only 3 systems that I trade. I teach those in our courses. That's what other ASFX members are using to make money. That's where we find our sauce, right? That system predefines, based on the grade of the setup, how much am I going to be willing to lose on this B setup or this A setup. It depends on the currency pair and the quality of the trade. But that percentage loss ties directly back into step number 1, question number 1, which is how far is your stop loss. So again, you can see how these questions really do layer on top of each other to give you a full picture for risk management going into the trade. The last question, this is a really important one, kind of different than risk management, but still managing your trade, is what would be a reason to get out of the trade early and like a slash, what would be a reason to get out of the trade completely? So let's say the trade is working in your favor, goes up 1R, and then turns around and starts to come down. You should have built into your system early exit signs. For me, I look at breaks of just simple EMAs. If we break through the 8 EMA, that's a first sign for me that we might be breaking trend. If we break down through the 21, that's a really strong sign that the short-term trend is dead. And that's when I want to look to get out of some of my trades. That's not my only exit signal. Don't take it that it's that simple for what we do, but that's the idea, is that in my plan, it's pre-written. I study this every day. I read it before I trade every day. It tells me if you're in a trade and it goes up 1R and you don't move your stop loss yet for whatever reason, but it does break the 21, get out early. Take the profit, take the break even, get out. And at the same time, if you're up in the trade, it's up 6-7R, it's at 80R max, it's overbought, those are reasons that you can have in your plan to say, hey, you're done. Full out of the trade, move on to the next idea. So I think it's really important to have a reason to get out early and a reason to just take the full trade off the table. So having these little outs, whether it's working for you or against you, is really important because the market's always changing. It's very fluid. So you have to be willing to be fluid with it. You can't be locked into your idea black and white. If the market changes, if it moves up very quickly, you might want to lock that stop so you don't give that back and it turns into a popcorn trade. You don't want that. So as the market moves, make sure your plan has parameters or rules written into it that you can move with the market. So let's just recap these 5 questions. Number 1, you should know how far your stop loss is. Number 2, you should know your potential profit targets. Risk reward is now defined. Number 3, you should be able to grade this setup. What is that risk reward setup? Is it an A1 entry? Is it a B D1 entry? A B quality D1 entry? So you see how we have this whole language for it? It's a quality of a grade behind a specific entry signal. That specific entry signal has the predetermined stop, has the predetermined take profit levels, right? Number 4, how much percent loss does your system allow for you to lose on this one trade? That goes back into that 3rd question. What is the grade of it? That should tell you the percentage that you can risk on this setup. And then number 5, what are the reasons to get out early? Whether it's working for you or against you, be ready, be watching, and be ready to get out early if it's just not working. And at the same time, be ready to take the full profit off the table if it does reach your desired target. So let me know in the comments, which of these 5 questions have you been lacking maybe in 2020 and you're focused on improving in 2021? Are you focused on making sure every trade you take has good risk reward? Are you just focused on finding a really good stop loss? Are you focused on grading your trades better? Which one of these 5 questions are you working on the most? I'm more than happy to give you some advice if you need, but I'm also just interested to know which one stands out to you guys. So thank you for sitting through. I know I talk fast. I hope I brought you some value. If you did enjoy the video, if you think that this is gonna get your thinking going in the better direction than it did before you got here, just do me a favor, smash the thumbs up button. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any future videos. I appreciate the time again, and I'll see you guys in the next one.